That is what you deserve. Those words still echo in my ears. A sound that refuses to fade. My name is Zenobia Washington. I am 59 years old, and this is the story I kept locked in silence for months, until the silence itself became unbearable. That night, at my son Orion's wedding reception, his new mother-in-law Serafina threw a bowl of piping hot gumbo directly into my face. I felt the searing heat pierce my skin, the spices burning my eyes, the thick broth dripping down my ivory silk blouse. But what burned me more than the soup was the smile. That calm, almost satisfied smile she wore as she looked at me with narrowed eyes, as if she had just done something she had been waiting to do for years. "That is what you deserve," she repeated with a firm voice, lifting her chin. The banquet hall fell silent. Every guest looked down at their plates. No one moved. No one said a word except for my son, Orion, my only child, the boy I raised alone after his father abandoned us, the man to whom I gave everything I had. He sat there at the head table, arms crossed, and said in a deep voice, "She's right, Mama." I felt the floor open up beneath my feet. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't ask why. I simply took the linen napkin from my lap, wiped my burning face with all the dignity I had left, and stood up from my chair without making a sound. I walked toward the double doors with my back straight, even though inside every part of me was trembling. But before I left that building, I did something no one expected. I took my cell phone out of my clutch, dialed a number I had saved weeks ago, and said just 3 words: "It is time." Then I hung up. I closed the door softly behind me. No one followed me. No one asked anything. I got into my car, started the engine, and as I drove through the dark streets of back toward my quiet apartment in the West End, a single question spun in my head. How did I get here? Because there was a time when Orion would hug me and say, "You're my hero, Mama." There was a time when I believed a son's love was forever. There was a time when I trusted, but that night, with my face burning and my heart broken, I understood something I never thought I'd have to learn. Sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who betray us the deepest, and sometimes silence is the only weapon we have left. What happened after that phone call is something they will never forget. But to understand why I did what I did, I must first tell you how it all started. 3 years ago, my life was different. Not perfect, but mine. I lived in a spacious apartment in the West End of Atlanta, with a balcony full of red geraniums and bougainvillea that I watered myself every morning. I had my routine: strong brewed coffee at 7, sweet potato pastries from Mr. Henderson's bakery on the corner. And then I would open my small, fine tailoring shop on the ground floor of the building. I wasn't rich, but I didn't need to be. After Orion's father left us, when my son was barely 5 years old, I learned something that many women take decades to understand. That one can sustain an entire life with her own 2 hands without asking anyone for permission. I sewed wedding gowns, prom dresses, and embroidered blouses for church ladies who wanted to look elegant without shouting about their money. My hands knew every stitch, every hem, every secret a fabric keeps when you treat it with patience. Orion grew up seeing that. He saw me get up at 5 in the morning to finish an order. He saw me sew until my fingers bled. He saw me cry from exhaustion over the singer machine that had belonged to my grandmother, and then dry my tears and keep going. "Mama, when I grow up, I'm going to work hard so you can rest," he would tell me with his big, serious eyes while I made him breakfast before school. And I believed him because Orion was always a good boy, responsible, affectionate. He studied without me having to ask, got good grades, On Sundays, he helped me clean the shop and asked me things about fabrics, about colors, about how I knew which dress each client needed. "You listen to them, baby," I would tell him. "People always tell you what they need, even if they don't use words." He would nod thoughtfully and then go play basketball with the neighborhood kids. When he turned 18 and went to study business administration at Morehouse College, I felt that every sacrifice had been worth it. My son was going to have what I never had: a career, a degree, a future without back pain or numb fingers. I worked double, triple shifts. I sewed dresses for weddings of families who would never invite me to their tables, but who paid well. I saved every dollar, denied myself luxuries because I wanted Orion to finish college without owing anyone anything. And he did. He graduated with honors, got a job at a top real estate firm. He started earning well, wearing suits that I tailored for him myself, bringing me flowers every Sunday when he came for lunch. "Thank you, Mama," he would say, kissing my forehead. "Everything I am is because of you." And I felt complete until he met Clementina. The first time Orion talked to me about her, I noticed something different in his voice, a new emotion, a shine in his eyes I had never seen. "She's special, Mama, very special." Clementina was the only daughter of a wealthy family from Buck. Her father owned a chain of hardware supply stores. Her mother, Serafina, was one of those women who had never worked a day in her life, but knew how to give orders like a general. When Orion told me he wanted to introduce me to her, I put on my best dress, the navy blue one, with embroidery on the collar that I had made for a distant cousin's wedding. I fixed my hair, put on the pearl earrings that had been my mother's. I wanted to make a good impression. The meeting was at a restaurant in Buckhead that I would never have chosen. Too elegant, too expensive. But Orion insisted, "I want you to get to know each other well, Mama. Clementina is important to me." Clementina arrived in an impeccable white dress and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She was pretty, polite, but cold. We talked about unimportant things: the weather, her career in interior design, the wedding plans she was already imagining. Even though she and Orion had only been dating for 6 months, I smiled, nodded, asked all the right questions, but something in my stomach twisted when she said, "My mother is anxious to meet you, Mrs. Zenobia. I've told her so much about you." The way she said Mrs. Zenobia sounded strange, as if my name needed a title to exist in her world. Orion took my hand and squeezed it, as if telling me, "Everything is going to be fine, Mama." And I wanted to believe him, because back then, I still believed that a son's love was stronger than anything else. I still believed that what we had built together, just the two of us, for so many years, was unbreakable. I didn't know yet that some women view other women as enemies from the very first moment. And I didn't know yet that Serafina had already decided, long before meeting me, that I wasn't enough for her family. That afternoon, when we left the restaurant, Orion hugged me tight and said, "Clementina adored you, Mama." He told me this in the car. I smiled, but deep down a small, cold voice whispered something I didn't want to hear. That girl is lying, and Serafina is too. 3 months later, they invited me to dinner at their house. That was when everything started to crack. Serafina's house in Buckhead was exactly as I imagined. Massive, cold, and full of things nobody needs. Crystal chandeliers, Persian rugs, oil paintings in gold frames, furniture that looked like it came straight out of a decor magazine. So perfect it was scary to dirty it just by looking. When Orion and I arrived that night, Serafina received us at the door with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Zenobia, how nice to see you," she said, giving me 2 air kisses without really touching my cheek. Come in, make yourself at home. But I didn't feel at home. I felt like an intruder. Clementina appeared from the staircase, radiant in a pale pink dress that probably cost more than 3 months of my rent. She greeted me with the same polite, empty smile as always. Miss Zenobia, how nice you look. Again, that Miss Zenobia. As if my name only existed with that prefix that made me feel old, foreign, from another world. Serafina's husband, Reginald, was a large man with a raspy voice who barely shook my hand before returning to his armchair in front of the television. He didn't say much all night, just grunted occasionally, and drank scotch. Orion seemed happy, comfortable, as if that house were more his than our small apartment where he had grown up. That hurt me more than I wanted to admit. Dinner was served by a young housekeeper who went in and out of the kitchen without making a sound, eyes downcast. Serafina didn't even look at her when she asked for something. More water, and bring the bread. I tried to smile at the girl when she served me. She gave me a quick, almost grateful look before disappearing again. The conversation during dinner was tense from the start. Serafina talked about her friends at the country club, the vacation they were planning to Hilton Head, the new SUV Reginald had bought, because one can't just drive around in anything. Right, Zenobia, she said with a light laugh. One has to maintain a certain level. I nodded without knowing what to say. Clementina intervened, touching Orion's arm with a possessive gesture. Mama, I already told Orion that when we get married, he has to think about a bigger car. That car he has is very modest. Orion laughed uncomfortably. The car is fine, babe. It serves me well. But we're going to have children, aren't we? Clementina insisted with a sugary voice. We need space, safety. Besides, my dad can help you with the down payment. I felt a knot in my stomach. My son had bought that car with his own money. I had watched him work hard to get it, and now this girl was talking about it as if it were an embarrassment. I think Orion knows what is best for him, I said with a calm but firm voice. Serafina stared at me for the first time all night. Of course, Zenobia. Orion is a very smart young man. That's why I'm sure he'll make the right decisions for his future, for his new family. The way she said his new family was like a silent slap, as if I no longer formed part of that future. Orion said nothing, just kept eating with his head down, and I understood something terrible in that moment. My son was letting them push me aside. Serafina kept talking, now about the wedding. Clementina and I are already looking at churches. The wedding will be at the cathedral. Of course, it's where my parents got married. My grandparents, the whole family, and the reception at the St. Regis. Nothing too ostentatious, but elegant, because things must be done properly, right? I nodded, feeling my throat close up. No one had asked me anything. No one had included me in these plans. It was as if my son's wedding didn't belong to me. And what do you think, Zenobia? Serafina asked suddenly with that fake smile. Do you like the idea? It sounds beautiful, I said, forcing a smile. The important thing is that Orion and Clementina are happy. Exactly, she said, raising her wine glass. The important thing is that they are happy and that they start well, without burdens. Without burdens. The word hung in the air like poison. Clementina got up to go to the bathroom. Reginald fell asleep in his armchair, and Serafina took that moment to lean toward me, her voice low but clear. Zenobia, you seem like a reasonable woman, so I'm going to be direct with you. Orion is a good boy, but he's accustomed to a certain life, a simple life, and that's fine. But now he is going to be part of our family, and our family has expectations. Expectations? I repeated, feeling the heat rise up my neck. Yes, expectations. Clementina needs stability, a husband who can provide, and Orion needs to focus on his future, not on the past. Her eyes bored into me. The past, I whispered. Don't misunderstand me, Zenobia. I know you've done a lot for your son. That is admirable. But now it is time for him to fly alone. Without strings, without emotional dependencies. I felt as if she had stabbed a knife into my chest. I have never been a burden to my son, I said, my voice trembling but firm. Of course not, she said, smiling. But now Orion has other priorities, and I am sure that you, as a good mother, will know how to step aside when necessary. I couldn't respond, because at that moment, Clementina returned from the bathroom. Orion started smiling again as if nothing had happened, and the housekeeper brought dessert creme brulee. I didn't taste a bite. When dinner ended, Serafina gave me a small box. A little detail, Zenobia. So you think of us? Inside was a fine china teacup, white with gold rims, elegant, expensive, cold. Thank you, I said without looking her in the eyes. In the car, on the way back to my apartment, Orion was quiet. So was I finally. When we arrived in front of my building, he broke the silence. Did you like Serafina, Mama? I looked at him, searching his eyes for the boy he used to be. The boy who hugged me and called me his hero. But that boy wasn't there anymore. She seems like a strong woman, I said, choosing my words carefully. Yes, he replied, smiling. She's incredible. She and Clementina are very close. It's nice to see that. And us. I wanted to scream. We aren't close anymore. But I said nothing. I just got out of the car, said goodbye with a kiss on the cheek, and walked up the stairs to my empty apartment. That night, while I brewed coffee in my old pot and looked out the window at the city lights, I held the cup Serafina had given me. It was beautiful, perfect. But when I brought it to my lips, I couldn't drink the coffee I had just poured because that cup wasn't a gift. It was a message. You don't belong in our world. I left it on the table untouched and went back to grabbing my old stoneware mug, the one I had used every morning for years. That one was mine. That one knew the taste of my life. And as I drank my coffee in silence, a question began to grow inside me like a dark weed. How far would this woman go to get me out of my son's life? I didn't know yet, but I would soon find out. Every step hurt, but I kept moving forward, smiling, telling myself that everything would be okay, that it was normal, that this is how things are when a son gets married, that I had to learn to let go. But the truth is, they weren't letting me let go. They were ripping me away. Orion started visiting less. Before, he came every Sunday without fail. He'd arrive with pastries, help me move furniture to clean, stay to eat, and tell me all about his week. But after that dinner at Serafina's house, the visits became bi-weekly, then monthly, then sporadic, always with the same excuse. Sorry, Mama. Clementina and I had plans with her family. Sorry, Mama. Serafina invited us to lunch at the club. Sorry, Mama. We have to see about the wedding. Always Clementina. Always Serafina. Always them. I said it was fine, that I understood that he was busy, but inside something was dying little by little. One afternoon, Orion called to tell me that Clementina wanted me to go with them to choose the wedding dress. Really? I asked, my heart jumping in my chest. Yes, Mama, he said. Clementina insisted. She says you're an expert in fabrics and wants your opinion. For the first time in weeks, I felt hope. Maybe I had been wrong about Clementina. Maybe she did want to include me. Maybe it was all a matter of giving it time. On the day of the appointment, I arrived half an hour early at the boutique, an elegant shop in Buckhead with dresses that cost what I earned in 6 months. Clementina arrived late, accompanied by Serafina and 3 friends who wouldn't stop laughing and taking photos with their phones. "Miss Zenobia," Clementina said, kissing my cheek, "I'm so glad you came. We need your expert eye." I sat on a velvet sofa while she tried on dress after dress, all beautiful, all expensive, all looking the same to my eyes. The friends applauded. Serafina gave orders to the shop assistant, and I sat there quiet without anyone asking me anything, until Clementina came out in a French lace dress, strapless with an endless train. "What do you think, Miss Zenobia?" she asked, twirling in front of the mirror. All eyes turned to me. I took a deep breath and told the truth. "It is beautiful, but I think the strapless cut doesn't flatter you as much. You have delicate shoulders. A dress with lace sleeves or thin straps would highlight your figure better." The silence was immediate. The friends stopped smiling. Serafina looked at me with cold eyes, and Clementina let out a nervous laugh. "Oh well, it's just that this type of dress is what's in fashion, Miss Zenobia. I don't know if you are very up-to-date with trends." Her friends laughed quietly, but loud enough for me to hear. Serafina stood up and put a hand on Clementina's shoulder. "My baby, you look spectacular in everything. Don't worry, this dress is perfect. We're taking it." Clementina smiled, relieved. "Yes, Mama. You're right, Mama." Clementina had called Serafina Mama, and she still called me Miss Zenobia. I stayed seated on that invisible velvet sofa while they kept talking about veils, headpieces, and designer shoes. No one asked me anything. Again, when we left the boutique, Orion was waiting for us outside. Clementina ran to him and showed him photos of the dress. "Isn't it true? I'm going to look precious, love. You're going to be the most beautiful bride in the world," he said, kissing her. I hung back, clutching my purse, feeling like a shadow. Orion finally saw me. "How did it go, Mama? Did you like the dress?" "It's lovely," I said, forcing a smile. "Thank you for coming. I know this is important to Clementina. And to you, I wanted to shout, 'It's not important to you that I'm here.' But I just nodded. Of course, baby, that's what I'm here for." Serafina approached, took Orion by the arm, and said in a soft voice, "Orion, will you join us for lunch? We have to talk about the final wedding details." "Of course, Serafina. Mama is coming too, right?" Clementina asked, looking at me with that polite, empty smile. Before I could answer, Serafina said, "Oh no, my dear. Surely Zenobia is tired. Besides, we are going to talk about very specific organizational things. We don't want to bore her." I got up from the chair, stumbling. I ran to the bathroom and vomited. I threw up everything I had inside until only dry heaves remained and a bitter taste in my mouth. I stayed there, kneeling in front of the toilet, crying uncontrollably. My son, my only son. The boy I raised alone. The boy to whom I gave everything. The boy who called me his hero. He was having an affair with his fiancée's mother. With a woman 20 years his senior. With the woman who had humiliated me time and time again. And suddenly everything made sense. That's why Serafina hated me so much. That's why she had wanted me out of Orion's life from the beginning. It wasn't because I was poor or simple or from another world. It was because I was her rival, the true mother, the one who knew Orion from before, the one who could see what she had made of him. And that's why Orion had abandoned me, not for Clementina, for that woman who had seduced him, manipulated him, turned him into her toy. I stayed on the bathroom floor for who knows how long, crying, shaking, feeling everything I thought I knew about my life crumble. When I finally managed to get up, I washed my face with cold water and returned to the shop. The photographs were still there, scattered on the chair. I picked them up one by one with hands that no longer trembled because the shock was giving way to something else, something cold, something hard, something I didn't know existed inside me. I put the photos back in the envelope and sat in front of my sewing machine, looking at the black thread hanging from the needle. I thought about all the times Serafina had humiliated me. I thought about all the times Orion had ignored me. I thought about the wedding approaching, about Clementina, that poor girl who had no idea her fiancé was sleeping with her own mother. And I thought about me, about the woman who had worked until she bled to give her son a better life. The woman who had swallowed insults and scorn without saying a word. The woman who had believed a son's love was forever. That woman was dead. And in her place stood someone new, someone who was no longer going to stay silent. I took my phone and dialed a number I had saved months ago when a client had told me about a private investigator who had helped her discover her husband's infidelity. Good afternoon. This is Zenobia, Washington. I need your services. The voice on the other end was professional, neutral. Tell me how I can help you, Miss Washington. I need more information. More proof, dates, places, everything you can get on to people. Their names: Orion Washington and Serafina Vance. There was a pause. Any relationship between them? Yes, I said with a voice that no longer trembled. He is my son, and she is his fiancée's mother. Another, longer pause. I understand. And what do you plan to do with the information, Ms. Washington? I looked out the shop window. The city lights were starting to turn on. The sky was dyed orange and violet. I don't know yet, I said, but when I know, I want to be prepared. I'll email you my quote. And Miss Washington, are you sure you want to know? I closed my eyes. I thought of my son, of the boy he had been, of the man he had become, and I said something I never thought I would say. It no longer matters what hurts. I need the truth. I hung up the phone, made myself a coffee in my stoneware mug, and waited, because now I knew that the wedding wasn't the end of this story. It was just the beginning, and I was no longer going to be the silent victim. I was going to be the woman who knew, the woman who waited, the woman who at the right moment would make a single phone call and everything would crumble. The private investigator's name was Booker Hughes. He was a man of about 50, ordinary looking, with glasses and a calm voice that inspired confidence. We met in a discreet coffee shop in Decatur, far from anywhere anyone might recognize me. He brought me a thick manila folder full of papers, photographs, and reports. Miss Washington, he said calmly, I found what you asked for. But before I show you, I need you to take a deep breath. I already know what I'm going to see, I said with my hands clasped on the table. No, he replied, looking me in the eyes. Believe me, you don't know. He opened the folder and my world finished breaking. The first photos were similar to the ones I had received in the anonymous envelope. Orion and Serafina. In restaurants, hotels, in an apartment in Midtown that, according to the investigator, she had rented specifically for their encounters. This apartment is leased to a shell company, Booker explained. But I traced the payments. They all come from Serafina Vance's personal account. I felt nauseous again, but I forced myself to keep looking. There were hotel records to St. Regis, the Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton rooms booked in her name, but security cameras showed both entering together. "Since when?" I asked with a voice I barely recognized as mine. Booker turned several pages and pointed to a date. "The first record I found is from a year and a half ago. A year and a half. My son had been sleeping with his fiancée's mother for a year and a half, since before he and Clementina got engaged. Since before I met that family." "There's more," Booker said with a grave tone. He showed me bank statements. Transfers from Serafina's account to Orion's account. Large amounts, $10,000 here, $20,000 there, $50,000 on one occasion. "What is this?" I whispered. "Payments," Booker said. "Your son is receiving money from her regularly." The word hung in the air like poison. Payments. My son wasn't just having an affair with that woman. He was letting her keep him. "Is there anything else?" "Yes," Booker continued, "and this is the most delicate part." He took out another set of documents. "I investigated the finances of Mr. Reginald Vance, Serafina's husband. He is bankrupt. The hardware chain that is supposedly so successful is on the verge of collapse. He has debts with several banks, and the house in Buckhead has 3 mortgages." I sat in silence, processing. "So, it's all a lie?" I asked. "A very well-constructed facade," Booker confirmed, "but it's falling apart. And I think Serafina knows it. That's why she's using her daughter." "Using Clementina? How?" Booker took out more papers. Clementina inherited a considerable fortune from her maternal grandmother 2 years ago, close to 4 or 5 million in property and bank accounts. But that money is in a trust that can only be touched under certain conditions. "What conditions?" "That Clementina gets married. Once married, she has full access to that inheritance. And if something were to happen to Clementina while married, the money automatically passes to her spouse." I felt the air escape my lungs. "Orion," I whispered. "Exactly," Booker said. "If Orion marries Clementina and something happens to her, he inherits everything. And considering the relationship he has with Serafina," he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. "Do you think they plan to harm Clementina?" I asked, feeling horror rise up my throat. "I don't have proof of that," Booker said carefully, "but I do have proof that Serafina is a very controlling, very ambitious, and very desperate woman. And your son, Ms. Washington, forgive me for saying it this way, your son is completely under her control." I closed my eyes. I thought of my Orion, of the boy who hugged me, of the young man who graduated with honors, of the man I thought I had raised. At what moment had he become this? At what moment had he stopped being my son and become the puppet of an unscrupulous woman? "There is one last thing," Booker said, "and it is the most important." He took out an audio recording, a small device. I managed to place a microphone in the Midtown apartment. "It's illegal, I know, but I thought you needed to hear this." He pressed the play button, and I heard my son's voice. "What if Clementina finds out it was Orion?" He sounded nervous. Then, Serafina's voice, soft, manipulative, maternal, and seductive at the same time. "She won't find out, my love. Clementina is foolish. She only sees what she wants to see. But when we get married, how are we going to continue this, Orion?" A pause sounds, I didn't want to imagine. Then Serafina spoke again with a firm voice. "Clementina is not going to be a problem for long. If this video added something in your life, like my video and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.